Hello, everyone out there in Rumble, X, and YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. I, of course, am Diego, and today we're going to talk some more about The Devil Wears Prada. That's right, The Devil Wears Prada. Your favorite movie. Not my favorite movie, but I got to admit, honestly, it's not that bad. It's really not. It's not great at all. But there's definitely some good qualities, and I find that rare. Usually, when I review these movies here for you, um, most of it's not plausible. Okay, it's just crap. It really is. Okay, it sends these stupid messages, which would be harmless. I think, like if a middle aged woman watched it, I think they know better. But if you got these kids watching this stuff, like these teenage girls or even girls in early 20s, they watch this stuff and they think it's real. They think it's really going to happen. Okay, that's what separates the guy movies from the girl movies. All right, guys know that what they're watching is not real. They know it's fake. They know it's just there to entertain you for an hour and a half or so. Okay, you don't expect to walk out of a movie theater expecting anything like what you saw in the movie to happen in real life. But a lot of women, they watch these movies and they expect these things to happen in real life. Okay, they really believe some of this stuff. Okay, and I think that's the problem. That's the real problem. And I'm here to give you a big dose of truth. Okay, the real question you got to ask yourself is, can you handle it? Can you handle the truth? Because I don't think you can. In fact, I know you can. I know you can. But you're going to get it, babe. Straight up, baby, with no lube. There is no lube here. All right? I don't have any. Don't need it. That's right. Okay? You're going to get done raw here all the way. Okay? The way you like it. All right, anyway, so let's talk about The Devil Wears Prada here. Now, there's not really in much of a romance aspect to this movie. It is a chick flick, but it's not a rom-com. Okay, there's very little romantic engagement in this movie. There's really no love story in this movie. Okay, this movie is straight up capitalism. If there's a love story here, it's a love story towards capitalism. Okay, there's a good old United States corporate capitalism, okay, climbing the ladders, shattering the glass ceiling, okay, making a career for yourself, okay, that kind of a thing, okay, be a boss bitch. That's what this movie is. It's about the dark side of becoming a boss bitch. Now, the only problem I have with that, I think it's a good idea for a movie, and like I said, there's a lot of good stuff here. There really is. I was impressed by some of the dialogue, some of the direction where the story was going. I was like, oh my god, this is something new. I'm invested, and then they screwed up the landing. But we'll get to that. But if anything, this movie's all about being a woman, fresh college graduate. You go out to the big city to make a name for yourself, to conquer the world. And this movie shows you the dark side of that. It does not offer you a solution to that. Nope. Because you all know what the solution is. Okay, you're just not going to go there. Okay, but it tells you not only that you need to be a boss bitch, okay, but that it's the most important thing in your life. Okay, and a lot of the stuff in the movie I agree with. Okay, I agree with. I really do. Okay, but this movie offers no solutions to the bigger problem. It only offers a solution to the smaller problem. Okay, but the big problem is left wide open. I mean, there's a plot hole you can fly a 747 through. Okay, the big issue with this movie, the big problem that this movie brings up, is not resolved by the end of it. Okay. And that's the problem I have with it. Okay, you never show a gun in the first act unless you're going to shoot it by the third. Okay, that's one of the rules of filmmaking. Okay, and this movie offers up a lot of questions, very, very good questions, in fact, about how do you balance your life? What's more important to you, your career or your personal life? Okay, can you find a balance? Okay, what kind of job is going to give you that kind of a balance? Okay, because the corporate world is not really that kind of a job. All right, not if you want to rise to the top. Okay, you're gonna have to make sacrifices, and that's what this movie's about. What are you willing to sacrifice to get what you want? What are you willing to give up in order to achieve your dreams? You see what I mean? And if you're not willing to give up everything, then you're not going to get what you want. You see what I mean? That's the question that's brought up, but it's not answered. It's not answered in this movie, all right? But still, the theme is pretty cool. I like it a lot. Like I said, I agree with a lot of the stuff that happens in the first act. I thought it was great, and we're going to talk about that right now. Okay. Now, I mentioned last time about the whole situation with our main character here, Andy. Andy Sachs, played by what the hell's her name? Damn it! How come I can't even think of her name now? Instead of brain fart. Anne Hathaway. Sorry, Anne Hathaway, who plays our protagonist, Andy Sachs. All right. And Meryl Streep, who plays our antagonist. Okay. Miranda Priestley. Okay. Meryl Streep is the editor in chief of Runaway Magazine, which is just code for Dame Anna Wintour, who was the editor in chief of Vogue Magazine in real life. Andy Sachs is actually based on the author, whose real name is Lauren Weisberger, who wrote the book. Okay, and she based it on her own experiences, the 10 months that she worked at Vogue Magazine as the second assistant to Dame Anna Wintour, who was the editor-in-chief of Vogue and also the chairman of the Met Gala. Yes, if you're a gay guy and a rich white woman, you know exactly what the Met is, and it's a big deal. For the rest of the world, does not give a shit. Anyway, so moving right along here, okay. When we left off last time, I explained to you a lot about the business culture. I used the example that I was in the Marines. Okay, what I was trying to communicate there was that, okay, when I was in the military, when I was in the Marines, okay, my job was I was actually a tank commander. Okay, I was part of a battalion, a company, a platoon, all that stuff of tankers, okay, M1A1s. Okay, there's 4 men in a tank, okay, and I had my own tank, I had my own crew. I worked my way up to sergeant, okay, but before I actually did my job there, they had to turn me into a Marine first. Okay, so there's none of this, you know, like what Andy's going through. She shows up at work and she automatically gets hit with the office culture, the office politics, okay, of her new place of employment. This is what you can't do. This is what you have to do. This is what you can't do. These are all the rules, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's going to treat you like shit. Even the woman training her is treating her like shit, okay, and insulting her dress and all this stuff, okay. No one's really being nice to her, not really. Even the only person that's showing her any bit of courtesy would be Nigel, who's the gay art director at Runway Magazine, and he's even doing it in a very nonchalant way. He doesn't really give a shit. He's just trying to help her out. Okay, but he's not doing it because he has like some sort of sentimentality towards her or anything like that. Not at all. He's just like trying to offer her hints, and she's not like slowly picking up on them. Okay, he's definitely not treating her like a friend, but at least he's like offering her help. Okay, you know, a frenemy type thing. All right, because she's having a very hard time fitting in with the culture of working at Runway Magazine. Okay, there's definitely a hierarchy, and at the top of it is Miranda Priestley. Okay, the editor-in-chief. Okay, that's Meryl Streep's character. She is the queen bitch. She wants things done a certain way. She wants her employees to look a certain way, to act a certain way, to talk a certain way, and basically everyone there caters to her. Okay, that's the culture in there. Okay, the entire office is designed to make Miranda Priestley happy. Okay, Miranda Priestley has offers no encouraging social skills at all to any of her employees. She treats everyone like shit. She's extremely entitled. Okay, she has a high attention to detail. She has no tact, especially when it comes to talking to people. She treats people like they owe her something. Okay, you know, when she doesn't get her coffee on time, okay, she's not going to say my coffee is late. She's going to say, what is so difficult about getting coffee? I mean, it's the simplest thing in the world. I mean, why do I have to, you know, why is it so difficult for people to understand? Just getting coffee and bringing it on time. It's not difficult. That's what she says. Okay, that's the way she talks. Okay, very passive aggressive. Okay, she never insults you to your face. She insults you from the side. Okay, that's how she lets you know she's not happy. Okay, very few times does she ever direct. Everything is indirect because that's the language that women speak. Okay, they speak indirectly. Where a guy is going to say, you know, if a guy's making fun of what you look like, a guy's going to be like, you know, look at her like, damn, dude, that dress, I mean, that dress looks like shit. Okay, that's the way a guy will do it. A woman be like, oh, I guess they're having a shortage of dresses today, aren't they? You know, that's how women do it. Okay, you see what I mean? That's the difference. All right, and you have to learn to speak that language, the way women speak to each other. Okay, and this movie's all about that. It's all about like trying to hide an insult inside of a compliment. All right, and Miranda's very good at that. Okay, and Andy picks up on some of it, and then she does it on others. Okay, but the culture there is a shock to her. She's not used to being talked to that way, being treated that way. She understands that she's a new girl, but she doesn't understand why people are so mean to her, because she would never be mean to someone who is new. Okay, she doesn't feel she's being treated fairly, but she's gonna stick it out. Okay, everyone in this movie reminds Andy at many different times in the movie that anyone would be happy to work here. Okay, there's a million women that would love to be sitting in your chair right now, to have the position that you have as a second assistant, which is the lowest man on the totem pole. Okay, there's women that will die to get that position. Okay, so Andy's very fortunate to have that job. Andy had graduated with a degree in journalism from Northwestern University. That's in Evanston, Illinois, and now she's in Manhattan. okay, working for Runway magazine. Okay, she dresses very conservatively. Okay, in other words, she doesn't wear designer clothes to work like everyone else does. Okay, if she works at a fucking fashion magazine, you would think that everyone does that, but not Andy. She doesn't think things like that are important. Okay, she's like, I got hired. Miranda knows what I look like. I mean, I wear flats, and I wear comfortable clothes. I wear sweaters, and so, that's what she wears to work. Okay, nobody else at her job wears it. Everyone else wears designer clothes. Okay, and so because of that, the other employees make fun of her. Nigel even tries to be nice. He brings her a pair of stilettos. Okay, I think there's some Manolo blonde. I don't know what the hell they are. Okay, I'm not gay. Okay, but she brought up some designer shoes to wear. Okay, and she's like, why do I have to wear this? Okay, well, everyone has to wear like designer clothes there. They're not going to make you do it. They just expect you to do it. Okay, so she doesn't really care about working at Runway magazine. She's not into fashion at all. That's not her thing. She wants to be a serious journalist, but she's trying to get her foot in the door. If she can work for Miranda Priestley, if she can work for Runway magazine, that's for a year. Okay, that's enough of a, she can build enough of a resume and she can make enough contacts in the publishing industry so she can go off and do the type of journalism that she wants to do. Okay, so she sees this as a stepping stone to further her career. She doesn't see working there as a career herself. Okay, that's the way she looks at it. Okay, so she doesn't understand why everyone things so seriously there. Okay, they treat fashion, okay, they treat clothing like they're trying to fucking cure cancer, right? And it's not that important. It's just fucking clothes. It's no fucking big deal. That's the way she thinks. People don't need to spend $2,000 on a sweater. Okay, it's not that important. You can get a fucking cheap sweater for fucking $15 at Walmart. You don't have to fucking buy a fucking Oscar de la Renta sweater, okay, for $2,000. That's ridiculous, okay? But that people are obsessed with this stuff there. That's the culture. She's just not used to that. She thinks it's kind of dumb, okay? She calls fashion stuff, which gets her in trouble later on, all right? So that's it. She doesn't really see this job as something she wants to pursue. It's just a stepping stone. It's not what she really wants, okay? And it's so freaking obvious, okay? Now, the movie frames it like everyone is treating her like shit, and I do, and you do feel sorry for her, okay? I mean, she's just a nice girl. She just walked in off the street. She just got hired here, okay? The boss is treating her like shit. The girl that's supposed to be showing her how to do everything treats her like shit, okay? Everyone in the office treats her like shit. Okay, even the guys that are nice to her treat her like shit. Okay, she gets no respect. She has to do all these meaningful, these stupid, meaningless tasks. Okay, for Christ's sake, her job, one of her jobs is to fucking hang up her boss's coat every day because her boss just slams it on her desk, every day, every morning. And her job is to hang it up. I mean, just stupid stuff. Her job is to run errands for the boss. Okay, get the coffee. Okay, take notes. All right, I mean, it's dumb, okay, but she's low man on the totem pole, so she's gonna suck it up until she gets to do the job that she really wants to do, okay, and that's what the movie's about. All right, okay, so moving right along. Okay, so of course she gets chastised at all times by her direct supervisor is the first assistant. Okay, and her name is Emily, played by Emily Blunt. Okay, complete with her British accent. All right, and she's there. She's very condescending. She makes fun of Andy's clothes. She barks orders at Andy. She's always yelling at her like, "What do you think you're going? Who do you think you're talking to? I can't believe you don't know who that is." That kind of thing, okay? Very condescending, very patronizing to her, okay? But she does tell Andy, okay, that Andy's performance on this job is going to reflect on her, okay? Because Emily interviewed the last two assistants that were hired, and both of them got fired by Miranda. So Miranda decided to interview Andy herself, and she gave Andy the opportunity to prove herself. She gave Andy the job. Despite the fact that Andy has no interest in the fashion industry. She gave her the job, okay? So now whatever mistakes Andy makes are gonna reflect on Emily. So it's very important for Emily, despite the fact that she does not like Andy, it's very important for Emily that Andy does not get fired. Because if she gets fired, then all of a sudden, Emily is probably gonna get fired too, or demoted to second assistant again, all right? And she worked very hard to become first assistant, because as first assistant, she gets to go to Paris every year for Fashion Week. Okay, and she also gets to be in charge of Miranda's schedules, the expense accounts, things like that, the important stuff, not the tedious little shit that Andy has to deal with, okay? So anyway, so that's what's going on here so far. Okay, again, Andy is running, she's running errands, okay? The next montage that we see, okay, Andy's running all sorts of errands for Miranda, okay? Emily can't, Emily yells at Andy when she shows up for work, carrying all these bags, all these clothes, all this coffee. Emily's pissed off because no one can ever leave the phone unattended. There always has to be someone sitting on the desk ready to answer the phone at a moment's notice, okay? If you're there by yourself, that means you will sit there all fucking day without taking a bathroom break, okay, just in case that phone rings. So while Andy was out there running errands, picking up coffee, picking up dry cleaning, all this stupid stuff that they make her do, okay, Emily was forced to sit in the desk and answer the phone. So of course she's pissed off when Andy shows up late, okay? She's like, damn it, I'm gonna go pee! I'm about to burst! You know, what took you so long? You know, that kind of a thing, right? Okay, Miranda shows up, of course, and tosses her coat, her fur coat, and her bag, her purse bag, whatever, and just tosses it onto Andy's desk. Okay, like here, like doesn't even look her in the eye, just tosses it there. That's what she does every day. She just tosses her shit in front of Andy's desk. Okay, absolutely no respect for Andy at all, no courtesy for Andy at all. Okay. You know, okay, and it's Andy's job to hang it up. It's her job to hang up Miranda's coat. Okay. Then we're introduced to Serena, okay, who's a minor character. She's basically a cameo. Serena is played by an actress named Giselle Bitch. That's her real name, Giselle Bitch. Okay, and Serena in real life, Giselle Bitch is a supermodel gold. Well, she's not a gold digger. She was born wealthy. Okay, but she dates. She was a supermodel who dates a lot of famous people. She dated Leo DiCaprio. Okay, she's the bitch that married Tom Brady, cheated on him with her fucking karate instructor, and then tried to sue him for like $200 million in alimony. Okay, luckily Tom Brady, yes, that Tom Brady. Luckily he was able to put all of his assets in his mother's name, so she didn't get shit. Okay, but it was a very public divorce. I personally have seen the roast of Tom Brady on Comedy Central. You should watch it. Okay, it's pretty funny. Okay, everyone takes pot shots at Tom Brady, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the world right now at least. Okay, and the fact that he got done wrong, that his fucking supermodel bitch of a wife, her name's Giselle Bitch for a reason. Okay, that she cheated on this guy who's a 10. He is a high value man. One of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. He's super wealthy, super good looking, super intelligent. Okay, lots of friends, lots of fans, high social status. Okay, this guy's got everything, and she still cheated on him with a goddamn karate instructor. Okay, just to show you guys. Okay, quit feeling bad when you find out your girl's cheating on you. Okay, even the best men in the world get cheated on. Okay. Tom Brady can join the ranks of fucking Will Smith, Robert Pattinson, okay, Justin Timberlake, Sylvester Stallone, okay. All these men have very publicly been cheated on by their girlfriends or their spouses, okay. So yes, join the club, okay. It happens to the best of us, all right. If a girl's gonna cheat, she's gonna cheat because she's a fucking cunt, okay. And that's just what it is. Don't give me any of this fucking shit. You were being inattentive, or you weren't there for me. I was lonely. Get the fuck out of here. You think we don't fucking get lonely either? Okay, it doesn't mean we fuck around, does it? Okay, only a small percentage of men are even capable of fucking around. But yet pretty much every woman who's average looking is capable of fucking around. That's the difference. Okay? Anyway. So moving right along, she's in this movie. She plays another bitch named Serena. Yeah, I'm sure it was a stretch for her. Okay, and Serena is just like works in the office. She's friends with Emily. Okay, at one point when she shows up there, she talks to Emily, and they both look at Andy, and they both make fun of her. Okay, in a very passive aggressive way, like, oh my god, I thought you were just kidding about her. Nice dress. You know, like that, like shit, like the little fucking junior high shit that girls do to each other. All right, like that. Okay. You know, and of course Emily tells her, you know, I'm the first assistant, so my lunch is 20 minutes and you can go after me and yours is 15. You know, that kind of, they call it lunch, but it's bullshit. All the women there are starving themselves. They're not eating lunch. They're all fasting. Okay, this is a fashion magazine. Everyone's got to be slim and skinny. So nobody really eats. Okay, I mean, there is food there because by law they have to provide food for their employees. But none of the women at least actually eat the food. They're all starving to death. It's fucking ridiculous. All right, this is before Ozempic. Okay, anyway, this movie's from 2006. Okay, so that's going on here. Okay, now during her 15 minutes of lunch, okay, Andy goes downstairs on her lunch break and she's there waiting in line at the cafeteria with Nate. Okay, and Nate points out that her food choices are very fattening. For example, she's pulling up some sort of chicken chowder soup, and Nate just tells her without her asking him. She just tells her, "Hey, you know what? You know that stuff is made with cellulite." Like that, okay? Just very passive aggressively telling her that, hey, you don't want to get fat, okay? You're already fat enough. Is basically what he's telling her, okay? You know, and he implies that she needs to lose weight. Okay, this is the way girl. Now he's a gay guy, so he counts as a girl. This is the way women insult each other about their weight. You know. Now, personally, me, a straight guy here, I cannot tell. Anne Hathaway does not look fat. I've seen fat girls. You've seen fat girls. She's not a fat girl. Okay. You know who's fat in this movie? Meryl Streep. She's fucking fat. Okay. Okay, Andy, okay, what's her name? Anne Hathaway's not fat, okay? Now, I'm not that really attracted to her. I think she looked great as Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises, okay? But she just looks average here. Average, you know? And she's average because that's relatable. Most women are average, and they know that. They're not going to say it out loud, but they know that they're fucking average, okay? And so they want to see a woman that they can relate to, that they can imagine being. They don't want to see some drop-dead gorgeous, sexy girl like a young Pamela Anderson or a fucking Sydney Sweeney or something like that. A girl who's going to raise every fucking dick in the room. They don't want to see that because that's going to make them feel bad about themselves, okay? They want to see a girl that they can relate to, okay? And that's the category that Anne Hathaway fits in here, okay? That's what rom-coms are made for, okay? For the average woman that thinks she's above average. All right, anyway, so moving right along. Okay, so that's going on here, okay? Like I said, Nigel slightly implies that Andy is fat, okay? You know, and she says that she's a size 6. I'm a size 6, okay? In which Nate tells her, yes, that's the new 14. You know, that kind of a thing. Okay, so, you know, it's like this is the era of like 2006. So, you know, the people used to use that expression, you know, that something is the new, so like that show, Orange is the new black. Okay, ugly, it's the new pretty. You know, black, that's the new white. You know, that kind of thing. Gay, it's the new straight. You know, he talks that way. He talks in fucking gay language, right? Okay, that's the way these characters talk, right? In Gayanese, all right? Anyway, so she says she's a size 6. Yeah, 6, that's the new 14. In other words, you know, for you, a size 6 is skinny, okay? But around here, that's a size 14. Okay, you're fat, is what they're trying to say, you know, okay? You know, and then he insults her sweater, her poly. She gets a little bit of a chowder on her sweater. He's like, "Oh, relax. I'm sure you've got plenty of those poly brand sweaters around." And Annie tells her, "You know, I don't plan on working in fashion forever. Okay, so I don't see the point in changing everything about myself just because I have a job." That's what Andy tells Nigel. Okay, the gay art director at Runway Magazine. And Nigel says, "That's true. You're absolutely correct, Andy. That's exactly what this multi-billion-dollar industry is based on. Inner beauty." Okay. Now, yes, Nigel is gay. I get it. He plays the gay friend. That's another fucking cliche in all these rom-coms. You always got to have the gay friend. You've always got to have the Stanford. Okay, like in Sex and the City, or the Anthony, like in Sex and the City. Okay, I get that. All right, but he's like trying to help her out without really helping her out. Okay, but he's trying to help her by insulting her. Okay, because he realizes that she doesn't give a shit. Because she looks like she doesn't give a shit. His job is to judge people's appearance. He pays attention to what they're wearing, just like everyone else there. Everyone else there is sizing each other up. It's like if you're a bodybuilder, and you know, when you're a professional bodybuilder, usually you're the biggest guy in the room. People are looking at you. Everyone's staring at you. Everyone's looking at you with envy. Like, oh my, I wish I could look like you. Oh my God, look at those quads. Okay, hey, dude, how do I get my triceps like that? You know, they do that. Okay, I'm not trying to puff my own Peter here. Okay, but I'm pretty fit. I am. You can't tell because you're only seeing my shoulders and above. Okay, but I'm pretty fit. All right, and guys look at me in the gym. Girls look at me too. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, but if I were to go to a bodybuilding competition, everybody would be looking at each other. Everybody's gonna be sizing each other up. It's gonna be weird. You see what I mean? And that's what she's in. That's the industry she's in. Everyone's looking at each other. Everyone's trying to outdo each other. Everyone's looking at each other's shoes and their nails and their hair and their jewelry and their jackets and their blouses and their skirts. They're all looking at each other. okay? Trying to see who's got the better whatever, okay? It's crazy, but that's the culture she's in. That's the fashion industry, all right? It's all run by old women, old white women, and gay guys, all right? So anyway, so at least they got that part true in this movie, okay? You know, anyway, so I think this was a good job. I think that was a good scene there, okay? Because, you know, if Andy is not taking, you know, if Andy's not serious about fashion, if she's not serious about this, okay, then why would anyone in there take her seriously? If she doesn't give a shit about fashion, she thinks that's beneath her. She thinks it's superficial. She thinks it's not that important. Okay, that's how Andy feels. She doesn't even think that she should have to look like the people she works with, because that's ridiculous. Okay, her job shouldn't require that. It's dumb. She's not going to buy a whole new wardrobe, okay, just because she got a job as a lowly assistant at a fashion magazine. She doesn't see the point of that. It's ridiculous. It's redundant. Okay, it's superficial. Okay, that's how she feels. All right. Well, of course, Nigel sees this. And he's like, dude, you don't even care about this kind of stuff. Why the fuck should I respect you? Okay, because the part that Andy doesn't realize is that everyone else that's working there does care about this shit. To them, it's important. Okay, it's like if you're a bodybuilder, okay, you pay attention to when you go to the gym. You pay attention to how much sleep you get. You pay attention to how much water you're drinking. You pay attention to every fucking gram of food that goes in your body, okay, whether it's fats, whether it's proteins, whether it's carbs, okay? You set aside your fucking cardio so you know exactly how many calories to burn. You weigh your fucking, your food on a scale so you know exactly how many grams are in it, okay? Okay, this is what professionals do. They take this shit seriously. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Okay, and everyone they associate with also acts this way. Okay, I've dated girls that train. Okay, they're just like me. They watch all their calories. They do all that shit. Okay, the same thing that I do. Okay, because it's a part of who I am. Okay? So we surround ourselves with people that are like-minded. They take this shit very, very seriously. And for some outsider to come in and basically act like this is all stupid, what the fuck? You guys are all weird. Okay, of course we're gonna not want that person there. Because they don't fucking get it. They have no fucking desire to get it. They don't give a shit. But we do. And that's why Andy is a wrong fit, but she doesn't realize it. She doesn't realize it. Okay? She thinks that everyone is just acting stupid. You know, like she says later on in the movie, everyone here thinks they're curing cancer or something. It's just fucking clothes. Now, for you and me, that's what it is. You know, because we're just normal people. We're normies. You know, I don't give a shit about the fashion industry. I agree with Andy on everything she said. But I'm also not trying to get a job in the fashion industry, am I? You see what I mean? That's the difference. Anyway. So I thought this was very good. Why should anyone take her seriously when she doesn't take the fucking industry seriously? Okay, I'm actually very surprised that Miranda hired her. That Miranda actually hired a woman that doesn't really care about fashion. That's kind of weird. Okay, later on we find out why. Okay, anyway, in the elevator, okay, so they have to leave there. He gets a call. Miranda needs them for something, so they have to stop the lunch break and get back there. They're already late. Okay, when Miranda decides to have a meeting, okay, that means that she wanted that meeting 15 minutes ago, which means that you're already late. So they have to rush out of the food hall there, okay, the commissary, and they rush to the elevator. While they're in the elevator, they share the elevator with another man. He's an older man. He's short, older guy. His name is Irv Ravitz. And it turns out, we find out that Irv is the chairman of the board of the company that owns Runway Magazine. Okay, so he's definitely a higher. He's above Miranda. Okay, he's in there. Okay, and he has some small talk with Nigel. Andy gets introduced to him. Okay, and once again, for the 17th time, okay, a character, in this case, Irv Ravitz, he tells Andy, there's a million women that would love to have your job. He tells her that. Okay, every fucking character in this movie tells Andy that every woman in the world would love to have her job. Okay, so she's constantly being reminded, okay, that she's in a position of privilege just to be the low man on the totem pole at this magazine, all right? So that's going on here, okay? And of course, Nigel, after he gets off the elevator, Nigel tells her, yeah, little tiny man, big ego, okay? Now, the next scene up here, okay, we have Miranda is supervising an outfit fitting, okay? Okay, when Nigel and Andy arrive, okay? Miranda complains about the competency of her staff. There's people that are pulling clothes off of a rack and they're showing her, oh, let's try this with this, and if you don't like that, then we'll have this over here. And of course, Miranda's just passive aggressively complaining that no one of her staff, how come nobody has anything ready? How come this is all you can produce? I give you all this time to do this and this is all you can produce. You're not even fit here. You're not even ready here. Oh my God, why do I have to suffer people that are never ready when I need them to be ready? She's talking like that, okay? Complaining about everything, okay? Questioning the competency of her staff, okay? And she picks out all these different outfits. She picks out this red dress, okay? And she shows it to Nigel. And Nigel's like, in his gay, well, hey, you give me anything that's red, I'm in. That kind of a thing, I'm sorry I can't do it because I'm not gay. All right, anyway, so they pick out this red dress, and Nigel, however, does prove himself. He is very competent. He does understand everything that Miranda's talking about. When she name drops all these people, okay, he completely understands. When she says, what about that blah, 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 then he knows exactly what she's talking about, and he responds in accordingly. So Nigel is actually very good at his job, okay? So I'm glad that they showed that, okay? That unlike Andy, Nigel does take fashion very, very seriously. Okay, he knows what he's talking about. Okay, and in this scene here, one of the reasons it's such a great scene is this proves why Miranda is where she is. Okay, now Miranda is the bitch. She is the antagonist. Okay, in this movie. Okay, at least that's what the filmmakers want you to think. Okay, but the scene that's about to come up next, and I'm going to talk about the scene in the next video, but just to tell you, okay, there is a reason why Miranda is in charge of editor-in-chief. Okay, and I think there was some good screenwriting here. Okay, I'm glad that they actually fleshed out why Miranda is the boss. She's not the boss because she's a bitch. She's not the boss because she fucked somebody to get to the top. She's not the boss because she fucking, went to the best schools, or she knows somebody that owns the company or anything like that. No nepotism, nothing like that is involved. The reason Miranda is at the top of the food chain when it comes to Runway Magazine is because she knows her fucking shit. Okay? She knows her shit, and she knows it better than everyone else in the room. Okay? This woman lives, eats, breathes, and shits fashion. She knows exactly what the fuck she's doing. Okay? That's the reason her magazine is a success. That's the reason that the fucking the fashion designers curry her favor. Okay? That's the reason everybody is afraid of her. That's the reason everybody wants her to promote their lines. Okay? That's the reason she is where she is. Okay, she makes or breaks fashion designers based on what she decides to put in her magazine and what she decides not to put in her magazine. Okay, she determines what the fashion trends are going to be for the next fucking 6 or 7 years. She determines it in that fucking room that she's in right now. Okay, that's the kind of power that she wields. Okay, but she did earn it. Okay, she's there for a reason because she's fucking good at what she does. And I'm glad that they showed that in the movie. It's easy to write it because they do this to men all the time. Whenever you have a straight white guy who's the bad guy, he's just an asshole because he's an asshole. Because all straight white men are fucking assholes. They're all stupid. They're all cowards. They all have little dicks. Okay, they're all misogynists. They all wish they had their mommies. They're all immature. They're all sex addicts. Okay, they're all blah, blah, blah. Okay, you see it all the fucking time, but you never get a reason as to why they're that way. They're just that way because they're men. Okay, especially in the fucking chick flick genre. Not so with Miranda. They actually treat her with a little bit of respect. Now, she's still the antagonist. She's still a fucking bitch. I'm not taking any of that away from her, okay? But there is a reason that she's in charge. She's in charge because she knows her fucking shit. Okay? That's why she's in charge. Okay? She sees the bigger picture and she knows she treats fashion the way a fucking surgeon treats fucking surgery. Okay? She knows exactly what needs to go where. Okay? And she learned all this from her years and years of experience and her hard work. Okay, and it's obvious in the next scene that we're going to talk to in the next video. Okay, she knows her fucking shit. She's on charge for a reason. Okay, she's not a bitch just to be a bitch. She's there because she earned it. And I'm glad they put that in there. Okay, like I said, this is not one of the worst movies I've ever seen. There's actually some very good stuff in here. This was one of the really good stuff. I'm glad they showed that. I'm glad they fleshed out Miranda Priestley. She's not just a bitch. She's actually a human being. Okay, but she's a human being who decided that fucking her way of living, capitalism, okay, becoming at the top of the fucking food chain of her industry is the most important thing in her life. Okay, in regardless of anything else, regardless of her family, regardless of her fucking of her friends, regardless of anything, irregardless of everything. Okay, she wants to be where she is. She loves what she does more than she loves anything else. As a matter of fact, she has thrown away everything, okay, even her fucking decency, okay, in order to fucking make it to where she is. Okay? She takes this fucking industry more serious than any other fucking person in that building. I guarantee it. She knows her fucking shit. Okay? And I'm glad they put that in there. Okay? Because not only is she the bitch, Not only does she act like she's all that, but she can back it up too. Okay? Now, a lot of times people will be like, hey, yeah, you're always talking shit. You're always bragging about yourself. You're always, acting all arrogant and shit. Okay? Most people cannot back it up. They just talk shit because they like talking shit. Or maybe they believe their own bullshit. Okay? But in Miranda's case, okay, she can back it up. Okay, and I'm glad they put that in there, because now the movie's starting to change. You're starting to realize, oh, wait a minute, okay, maybe Miranda isn't this fucking evil fucking person, okay, that we thought she was. Maybe she's that way because her responsibilities are so much higher than everybody else's that she can't be bothered with the little shit. She can't be bothered with getting the coffee, okay, or hanging up the coat, okay, or calling people to make appointments. She hires people to do that for her so that she can concentrate on the big picture. You see what I mean? That's why she's that way, okay? Because she's good at what she does. She's probably the best at what she does. I'm pretty sure Dame Anna Wintour is probably the best. She's the real life version of Miranda Priestley. I'm sure Dame Anna Wintour is probably the best there is at what she does. She's definitely the most powerful woman in publishing, okay? And that's a fact. Okay, so I'm sure she's very good at what she does. Okay, when you're that good, okay, you've got bigger responsibilities, okay, than the fucking little shit. Okay, you see what I mean? She's like this artist that's painting this masterpiece. She can't be bothered to fucking mix the paint, to go to the store and buy the thinner, okay, to bring the easel, okay? Okay, she can't be bothered. She's got other people to do that. She's working on the bigger picture here. Okay, and I like that a lot. Okay, it just kind of shows you, okay, yeah, she comes across as a bitch, and she is a bitch, but she's dealing with much bigger things than Andy Sachs is dealing. Andy Sachs is dealing with the little things. Okay, you see what I mean? And I thought that was good, and I'm glad that we have a character like Nigel to be able to point that out to Andy. Okay, listen, okay, this, she's this way because we need her. That's why we tolerate her, because we need her, because she's good at what she fucking does. I remember that as well. I used to work in sales, okay? And my job was to hit fucking certain numbers, okay? And then I also worked for a corporation, okay? And in that corporation, whoever gets the highest sales is the one who's going to get paid the most, is the one who's going to get promoted the fastest, okay? So it was my job to make sure I'm hitting those fucking numbers, okay? To me, I looked at it as competition, like Wolf of Wall Street, okay? At the expense of everything else. I eventually did quit that job because I didn't want to work there anymore. I didn't want that culture. I saw what it was doing to me. It was turning me into like a fucking wolf, sort of, okay? Semper I, fuck the other guy, and I didn't want to be like that anymore, okay? But I saw that happening to myself, so I understand the culture. You have to produce. You have to perform, okay? That's what's expected of you. Okay, and that's why Miranda is the way she is. She's got to keep her magazine #1. She's responsible for that. Okay, that's why she's there. Okay, and I'm glad they kind of showed that there in this next scene, all right? Anyway, we will talk about that in the next video. I thank you very much for watching this long, and I'll see you soon on the next one. Bye.